and another one bites the dust. At this point, I'm just used to franchises I like being turned into woke trash because that's all Hollywood does nowadays, whether it's movies, TV shows, and video games, and the comic book industry. And the comic book industry, in particular, has been the biggest culprit of this, and it is now seeping into the movies, shows, and video games. Some recent examples include that new gay Green Lantern Golden Age comic book that didn't sell for shit. And now we have this game. And this is a case very similar to Across the Spider-Verse, where I really liked the first game. I love the first game. I play it all the time. I still love the game. I've played the story mode several times. It's a really fun game. And you know what? I liked Miles Morales. I know it was a glorified DLC and could have been twice as long, and it probably still wouldn't have been a full game. But I still like the story. And this is one of the times where I was okay with them changing one of the villains, because the villain was Tinkerer, who isn't exactly the biggest threat of a villain, and I like how they incorporated it into the story. But then they had to fuck it all up with the sequel that succumbs to modern Hollywood bullshit. And much like Across the Spider-Verse, the game Simps will defend literally every decision this makes because that's their entire life. Their entire life is defending this game because this is all they do. They sit in their mother's basement playing these fucking video games and sucking off to it on the internet. And the funny thing is that anytime someone critiques this or points out something stupid in this game, they will throw a fucking hissy fit and call you all the other names that you get called for pointing out woke bullshit, like incel or virgin or all this other crap, as if not having sex and hating a video game that's garbage somehow correlate. Someone explain that to me. But again, these are the same people who sit in their mother's basement playing the video game, have never been laid, and have about as much testosterone as a butterfly, so I can't take them seriously. And one of the biggest examples I've seen this, because this is an example, I'll get to more of the woke shit in a little bit. And no, I didn't actually play this game, because I'm not wasting $70 on some woke garbage like this. And Synthetic Man did an entire hour 20 long video that went way more into detail than I'm going to, link in the description. So, yeah, so this is going to be pretty brief. But one of the biggest examples of these stupid-ass game simps is with Venom no longer being vulnerable to fire. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this probably isn't that big of a deal. But but what pissed me off more is that when the developers were asked why they removed that, it was to simplify the game. And you know what that means? They were lazy and didn't bother to do it. And as soon as someone points that out, like I did at some point, they all went on a hissy fit and claim, oh, it's a smart decision to remove a core aspect of the character for the sake of simplifying a fucking AAA video game with a budget of probably over $100 million, if not way more than that. I don't know how much this actually costs, and I don't really care. But here's the thing that destroys that argument right off the bat. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game, a cheap-ass movie tie-in video game from 2014, gave the symbiote vulnerability to sound and fire like the comics. But this AAA game that had probably 3 times the budget of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game couldn't do the same. And I've seen other arguments saying, oh, it makes him more of a threat. Venom in the comics has been a threat for decades now, and still being vulnerable to fire, so again, this argument doesn't check out either. But now we get to the woke stuff, and I'm gonna keep this brief. I'm not gonna go through everything all the woke shit this game went through, because I don't want this video to be an hour long. I have other videos I want to record today. So I'm just gonna give some of the biggest examples, and probably probably the most notable example, or I guess the most known example, was the fact that there is an entire mission dedicated to getting a teleporting scroll so that Black Cat can meet up with her girlfriend in Paris. This is an entire mission, and hell, it's not even a Peter Parker mission. He does not interact with Black Cat once in this game. It's a fucking Miles Morales mission. Side note, if you saw the thumbnail of this video, and you probably had to, that suit that Miles has at the end with the fucking light blue mixed in with the red looks fucking hideous. I thought I'd just bring that up. It's not necessarily a problem with the story or anything, but it's a problem. But you know what? That wasn't the most notable example. The most notable one, which people noticed as soon as the trailer dropped, is with MJ. Now, so this is what the face model looks like for MJ. See the difference between what she looks like in the actual game? And that's because one of the writers, I'm assuming demanded that they do this. This character was basically a self-insert for her, and they made her look exactly like the writer, who's not exactly the most attractive person on the planet. Which is why MJ no longer looks like she's 28 or whatever she's supposed to be in this. She instead looks like she's 48. So, yeah, and also with the Mary Jane missions is that she's fucking overpowered. I've seen the gameplay for this game, and most of the gameplay looks pretty fun with the combat and the swinging and everything. It looks just like the first game with some new additions, like the parrying system. I don't really think that should be in a Spider-Man game, but whatever, that was a decision they made, and that's not really a problem, it's just a preference. I think parrying should be more with games that you use actual weapons like swords or shields or lightsabers or something like that. But that's just a personal preference. But they made her so overpowered that when you run her, she spends all of her missions are her tasing fucking trained hunters, and there are like 1 million of them in this game for some reason. I think Kraven might have pulled the entire country of Africa. Actually, I can't even say that because it's like everybody is like a different ethnicity. This is one of the most diverse groups I've ever seen, except for the actual New York criminals, where pretty much all of them are white people carrying big-ass guns. And there's a bunch of shitty dialogue in this game about stuff like that, but I'm not going to get into that here. But all of her missions, all you have to do is just sprint around and tase them. She is so fucking overpowered in this game, and the writers and developers know it, and they literally said, I don't give a fuck, that she's overpowered as shit. Really, this fucking civilian who has no special skills is going to be able to take down an entire group of hunters just by running around and tasing them? Bullshit. But then there's also the fact that the game developers have confirmed that Miles Morales is now the main Spider-Man, even down to having the line at the end, Peter saying, why would they need me when they have you? Yeah, because one Spider-Man is better than two, right? That's how math works. Now, there are other story bits in this game that don't make a ton of sense and aren't very good. Honestly, the big change of Harry being Venom, I actually don't mind. I thought that was actually a decent idea, and I thought they handled that bit of the story pretty well for the most part. But so much of this game has just been destroyed by game simps and laziness and just utter woke pandering garbage. Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? It was the big one. I don't know how I forgot this. There is an entire side mission of Spider-Man wasting time helping some high school dude ask out some other dude to homecoming. That's an entire side mission, Spider-Man wasting his fucking time helping civilians doing trivial shit. This is where we're at with Spider-Man, and this is where we're at with the video game industry. And knowing how woke this game is, it'll win Game of the Year, no matter how bad it is. Because how much do you want to bet that Little Mermaid movie is going to get a Best Picture nomination? I'm like, it probably won't because it's still a Disney remake and those don't get Oscar nominations. But honestly, if it got a Best Picture nomination, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be annoyed as fuck, but I wouldn't be shocked. So yeah, that's all I got for this. I don't want to talk about this game ever again. I'm going to pretend this game doesn't exist. And I'm going to go play the first two, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.